Good afternoon and welcome to this live interactive telephone town hall with Pennsylvania Labor and Industry Secretary Jerry Oleksiak and UC Benefits Policy Director Susan Dickinson. My name is Dirk and I'll be the moderator today. The goal of this event is to provide you with helpful information and to answer your questions, as well as update you on Pennsylvania's unemployment benefits programs during the COVID-19 pandemic. As I mentioned, this is an interactive forum, and we would love to hear from you. We'll be taking as many questions from participants as we possibly can live during this call. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone keypad at any time. You'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our staff. They'll take down your name and where you're calling from. Then the next time you hear your name, you will be live on the call and able to ask your question directly. If you are streaming the event on our website, you can simply type your name and question below the streaming player. We'll do our best to answer as many questions as we possibly can this afternoon. Again, to ask a question, please press *3 on your telephone keypad. We do receive a lot of questions on our live events, so if we're not able to get to your question, send us an email at uchelp@pa.gov. We'll start this call with opening remarks from Secretary Oleksiak.
Thank you, Dirk, and thank you to everyone who has joined us, either by phone or by the live streaming. We appreciate the opportunity to answer your questions and to provide the information that we can. Let me begin with some numbers. We're very close to the $25 billion mark in benefits. We're at about $24.5 billion that we have been able to dispersed thus far in unemployment compensation benefits. Excuse me. That's $10.3 billion from our regular unemployment system, $11.1 from the federal pandemic unemployment compensation system, which is the extra $600 per week, $2.9 billion from the pandemic unemployment assistance program, which is for those traditionally not eligible. Also $147 million through the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program, which is the federal extended benefit program, and $76,000 through Pennsylvania's extended benefit program. So that's close to, like we said, $24.5 billion. I mentioned the federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program. That's the extra $600. That will be ending in 2 weeks. That's part of the Federal CARES Act, and under that Federal CARES Act, the claim week ending July 25th, 2020, will be the last $600 payment that claimants will receive. If you're still waiting for a payment on any claim weeks from April 4th through the 25th, you will receive those payments, so you will be made whole if you haven't been paid by that week. As that program ends, I want to remind everyone, as we have before, that there are additional state resources available to help people who may need it with that part of the CARES Act ending. The Department of Human Services in Pennsylvania, DHS, has programs designed to help Pennsylvanians who have lost income or unemployment, and it will help them meet basic needs until they're able to go back to work again. Those programs include Medicaid, the CHIP program, the Children's Health Insurance Program, SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, and TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. Also, DHS has received approval to administer certain benefits created specifically in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, including the Emergency Assistance Program and the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program Recovery Crisis Program. So if you are interested in those services, you can apply for benefits online at www.compass.state.pa.us. And you can also call the statewide customer service center at 877-395-8930. Also, if you were laid off from your job due to COVID-19 and have not returned to work yet and are no longer receiving health insurance coverage through your previous employer, you can visit www.insurance.pa.gov. That's the Pennsylvania Insurance Department, to to learn more about continuing your health insurance through COBRA, but also through other coverage options. And I would also encourage you to visit Resources for Pennsylvanians at www.pa.gov, where you can find resources related to mental health, to financial help, to mortgage and rent information, to food assistance, and other programs that might help those who are in need of that help. Last thing I want to mention is, as many of you are aware, and we've said at all these town halls, we're continuing to see increased fraud attempts involving the federal PUA system. This is a nationwide issue. It's occurring in states throughout the country. Fraudsters are using stolen identities and other personal information obtained from sources outside of Commonwealth agencies. It's important to note that none of our systems have been hacked. And they're using that information to apply for COVID-19 related unemployment benefits. We are working closely with state agencies, federal agencies, to go after the bad guys. We take this fraud very seriously. It's very disappointing that there are folks out there who want to take advantage by stealing federally funded benefits programs and disrupting payments to our fellow citizens who need and deserve that unemployment compensation. So we will continue to fight that. I would encourage everyone to know the warning signs that might indicate that you are a victim of identity theft, what to do if you are, and what to do if you should receive funds that you have are not eligible for. Please visit uc.pa.gov/fraud. That's uc.pa.gov/fraud for more information. And your help in fighting this will help us fight it as well. That being said, I'm going to turn it over to Susan, and then we will be happy to take questions. Susan?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to share a few updates on some things. First of all, it is the quarter change. So I'll explain what that is. In the world of unemployment, when we look at whether or not you can qualify for a regular unemployment claim, what we do is we look at Pennsylvania's wage record, and that's where your employer has reported all of your wages to us. They do that on a quarterly basis. And we look at your wage record, and that determines how much we can pay you per week. First of all, you have to meet some tests in order to qualify at all. And then, based on how much you made in each quarter, that's how we set your weekly benefit amount. When we do this, we look at your base year. So your base year is made up of the first 4 of the last 5 completed quarters. What that means is, depending on when you file your claim, so let's look at the quarter we just finished. That was April through June. If you opened a claim April through June, the base year that we looked at was January 2019 through December 2019. So all of your wages on file for that time period is what we use to make the determination on your claim. And this is all set in law. So, if you had more recent employment than that and you wanted that to be counted, we wouldn't have been able to, because the law dictates when we, what the base year is and which wages we use for you. Excuse me. So when the quarter changes, the base year changes. So April, May, June, that quarter is over. Now we're into July. The quarter always starts with the first Sunday of that month. So July is this quarter change. The next quarter change will be the first Sunday in October. So now that there is a new quarter change, that means everyone's base year shifts forward. So if you file a claim now, you're going to have a different base year than someone who filed a claim last week. So when it comes to individuals possibly qualifying for a new claim at the quarter change, what this means is that if you did not financially qualify last quarter, or even the quarter before that, in many cases, those individuals, especially right now, may have been on a PUA claim, because PUA is for individuals who don't qualify for regular unemployment compensation. So now that the quarter change is here, that means we need to test you and see if you can qualify for a new regular unemployment compensation claim. Why do we have to do this? It's actually just because it's our federal mandate. So if someone can qualify for regular unemployment, no matter what program they're on, we have to make them take the regular unemployment claim. And if you don't qualify for regular unemployment, we go down the chain. We look to see if you can qualify for PEUC. We look to see if you can qualify for EB. We look to see if you can qualify for PUA. So now that the quarter change is here, that means that individuals who look like they may have enough wages to qualify for a new regular UC claim, we will be testing them to see if they can. Now, keep in mind, this is also only for individuals whose benefit year has ended. If you have a current claim, you're still within your benefit year. We can't file a new claim for you. You have to wait for the benefit year to expire. So claims are good for 1 year. There won't be enough money on the claim for 1 year. In other words, your maximum benefit entitlement at the most is 26 weeks, which is half a year. But the range of the claim, the date range of the claim is 1 year. So you won't be tested for a new claim if you're still within your benefit year. Once your benefit year ends, we test you at that point. So even if it's not a quarter change at the time, when your benefit year ends, that's a point where we need to look and see if you can qualify for a new claim. So if you're on PEUC, for example, you may be receiving a call from us or an email or something saying, hey, it looks like you can qualify for a new UC claim, so you need to file a new UC claim. If individuals do not qualify for a new UC claim, then we simply have them resume where they were, whether that be PEUC, EB, or PUA. If you can qualify, of course, then you will have to take the new UC claim, even if it is a lower rate than what you were getting. So it depends on your work history. Some people have higher wages more recently, and their rate might actually be higher, or it might go the other way. It all depends on your personal situation. Excuse me. So that's what's happening with the quarter change, and we generally can do this fairly quickly. For those of you on the PUA program, we're working with the third-party vendor who owns that program to put in the messages. The system will actually do a quick test and will tell you if you need to file a new UC claim. So we'll be providing more information about that this weekend in the coming days, so that when you go to file your weekly claim next week and you see these messages, you'll understand what they mean and why it is you might be told to file a new claim. So again, this is the quarter change that happens every 3 months. So if you're still unemployed in October and you're still on one of our extension programs, this will happen again in October. And we'll, retest you to see if you can qualify for UC. And if you can't, then you'll just continue on. The EB program I had mentioned when we were talking about quarter change. The extended benefits program has started. We already have individuals filing and receiving payments for that. So if the extended benefits program, if you finished your PEUC 13 weeks of benefits, that means we will have automatically set you up for the extended benefits program. And you will receive a financial determination in the mail. Not everybody qualifies for extended benefits. Most people will. I would say if I had to take a stab at it, 95% of the people will qualify. But there are a few handful of people who don't have enough wages in the base year, and your financial determination will explain that to you. So the extended benefits base year is the same as your regular UC claim. It's not different. It's not later just because the extended benefits claim later. Yeah. The extended benefits claim came later. It goes off of your regular UC claim, so it looks at the same base year. So you'll receive that in the mail, but for individuals who finish PEUC, you don't need to wait for the financial determination in the mail to start filing your weekly claims. You can just do that right away. We encourage filing for EB online. You log in just like you do with your regular UC or PEUC. You use the same PIN. You'll go in there, and on the screen there will be a button at the bottom of the screen that says File EB Claims. So you will click on your button that says File EB Claims, and it will present you with any weeks that are available on EB for you to file. So you will, you will notice that the setup is a little different when it comes to asking the questions. Everything's pretty much on one page, and it'll ask you extended benefits questions, and then you'll submit it. But for the most part, the questions aren't much different. We still ask if you're able and available. We ask if you worked at all. We ask you to report any earnings, etc. So that is how it works online. Now, if we have any individuals who are not able to access the internet and can't file online, when you receive your financial determination, there are instructions in there that say if you need paper mail claims, to send us a note at, and then there's an address there. It's the same address where you will send your mail claims. It's our Labor and Industry building in Harrisburg. So if you need mail claims to be generated for you, you just need to send us a request, and we will start generating the mail claims for you. After we do it for you in the beginning, as time goes on, they will automatically generate as the last one is paid. Actually, I think it might be the second to the last one is paid. It'll generate more to you. So you'll receive those continuously in the mail until you are exhausted. Your benefits are exhausted. Moving on, a brief note about the PUA debit cards. If you recall, originally we thought all PUA debit cards would be issued and received by around June 30th. And then last week, Treasury alerted us that it would actually be more like July 7th. So July 7th was this past Tuesday. So by now, everyone should have a PUA debit card or be receiving it this week. U.S. Bank will have issued them all by this Tuesday, so you should be receiving it soon. So be watching your mail for the rest of this week. If you don't have it by next week, that could be an issue. You should try calling U.S. Bank just to see if anything has been held up. But give it a few more days. I wouldn't call this week. It's still a little early, and just be watching your mail for that. And with that, I think that is all for the announcement. We can turn it over to questions and answers.
All right, very good. We've got a caller on the line. We're joined by Todd. Todd, you're live on the call. What is your question?
Yes, thank you for taking my question. And my question is, I filed for a new year of benefits on May 10th. Okay. I received all of the paperwork of a financial determination. It told me, what week I would be eligible to start filing biweekly claims. Since that time, I have, just this past Sunday filed my 4th biweekly claim, and I have not received any payments yet. And I checked the status on the Pennsylvania UC website, and that's, it says they have my claim as active, but I have not received any payments. And then, I can't find anywhere else to go to see if there's a problem, which I don't think there is, other than it's just not getting paid. And so that is my question, is how am I supposed to keep going, when the help to get me through this period is not coming? I hate to be a complaint, but it's like I've tried to be patient, but that doesn't go very far as to buying groceries and gasoline for the car and things. Okay. Thanks.
Hi, Todd. Thank you. That is a good question. And it is hard to say without seeing your exact claim in front of me, because there could be multiple things happening. Generally, if you have been filing, your weeks have been accepted, that means that there is an outstanding eligibility issue on your claim. So, at this point, we don't have actual claim processing backlogs, if that makes sense. It really is, at this point, for anyone who hasn't gotten paid, it's some sort of an issue when you answered your questions on your application, or a lot of times we're finding individuals open new claims and started filing, but they have a disqualification from a previous claim, and we may not know, without you letting us know that you have requalified at this point. So we would need to know that. So, again, it's hard to tell without seeing it. There's a whole host of issues. For example, if you had provided an expected date of return in your initial application, and that date has passed and you're still not back to work, your benefits will be held up because they don't pay after that expected date of return has passed. Because, of course, that was you saying in the beginning, I expect to go back to work on this date, and of course, we wouldn't make payments for weeks after that. So, my recommendation, and I realize it is hard to get a hold of us, but of course, it's not impossible. We've, been handling anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000 phone calls each week. The amount of chats we are able to respond to have increased. So, in your case, if someone doesn't reach out to you soon, because if there is an eligibility issue, it goes through our adjudication process, and an examiner reaches out to you to obtain the information that they need to make a decision on your claim. So if someone doesn't reach out to you soon, you can try one of three things, and that is either calling us. As I mentioned, the phone line is always busy. Even before the pandemic, it's always busy. Mondays and Tuesdays are the worst days to try to call, so do not try those days. I would try Thursdays, Fridays. They're much better. If you have access online and can do live chat, that is actually another good option, and we have more staff all the time helping with live chat and with phone calls. But we're getting new people all the time. We're getting people from other agencies all the time. So as time goes on, we are able to handle more and more calls and more chats. Chats available from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily from our website. You can access it through our frequently asked questions page or our contact page. That also our contact page on www.uc.pa.gov. Also, our emails are extremely busy, but I always say it's good to get your place in line by just sending one email. So you can send one email, say, this is my problem, I'm looking for payment, what's going on? And then, in the meantime, you can still try to call us or chat with us, and maybe you will get through. But if you don't, then at least you had submitted that email, so now you're closer to someone being able to handle your situation. So one last thing I will mention is to double check, and this goes back to, of course, anyone who's been listening each week. We are having the problem with PUA fraud on the PUA program, but it's affecting some unemployment compensation regular claimants. If you check online to see your last UC payments made, if there are no payments made, then you're okay. If you see that payments are made, but you haven't been receiving them and you had chosen direct deposit, that could be a fraud situation where someone has stolen your identity and is redirecting your funds into their bank account. So, in that case, you would want to get a hold of us. There is a fraud page on our website with all the contact information, and we could look at it that way. So that's, again, only in the case where you can see that payments have actually been issued, but you don't have them. So if you don't have payments issued, then it's not a fraud issue. It's just a matter of us, adjudicating the issue that's on your claim.
Our next question comes from Mayana. Mayana, you're live on the call. What is your question?
Hi. So basically, I filled out for PUA, and for one of the weeks in April, I refused the job and was honest about it due to the fact that my employer told me before I accepted that there was three positive COVID-19 cases amongst the staff recently. I also have a screenshot that I put into my PUA so everyone can see where he told me that. Also, before I declined, I also asked him, is it possible I could work in the back alone? And he said no, that they were only hiring for the front, around the cashiers and all of the customers. And because of me and my family's asthma, it makes me a higher risk to die. And so I refused. But now it says I have an outstanding issue. It said it would take 21 days for me to hear or get a letter saying that I would either have it or not have it, my monetary determination. And I haven't heard or received anything. So I wanted to know if I'm still eligible for the PUA.
Hi, Mayana. So it sounds like in your situation, you have a medical condition, which would put you in danger, if you were to come in contact with COVID-19. I can't predetermine your claim, but I will say that in general, I mean, that is a good reason for, especially if an employer does not have the right protocols in place. That would be something that puts you at risk. So it generally would not be an issue based solely on that for refusing work. Now, you had mentioned that you did, say that a while ago, and that I think you were kind of getting at it, you haven't heard anything. And that's simply just a backlog in processing on our end. So if you haven't heard anything, it doesn't mean you're not eligible. It just means that we haven't addressed it yet. So this is part of the adjudication process. So if you'll hear from someone from the department, from an examiner, who would probably reach out to you with more questions and ask you about the situation. And then you would just explain, the way that you explained it to me now. And that would help them make their decision. It's just right now there's a lot of individuals refusing work for such reasons. And of course, we have to look into all the cases. Even if most of the cases end up being okay, end up being eligible, we still have to do the background work and find out the facts of the case. So you will be, if you've already declined a week, said you refused work, someone will be in touch with you to resolve that, and then your payments will continue. I will say the system the PUA system is having a bit of a glitch. Normally when there's an issue on a week, it, alerts us. It's supposed to alert us that there's an issue for us to address, but it's still supposed to allow you to file for weeks after that week. And it doesn't seem to be doing that. So we are working with our vendor to try to fix that because individuals should still be able to claim weeks, even if there's, an eligibility issue for one particular week. You should be able to get the rest of them. So we are working through that as well.
So moving to an online question now. Barbara asks, when the CARE Act money is slated to stop at the end of July and there is still money in the state fund, will we be eligible to receive it?
Hi, Barbara. So I'm not totally sure I understand, but I will explain how that works. So the SPUC payment, the $600 payment, is the one that's ending with week ending July 5th. So the benefit is payable for any claim weeks through week ending July 25th. So, for example, let's say you have a few weeks in July, that you filed for, but there's an eligibility question. Let's say we don't pay them until August. You would still receive the $600 payment for those weeks if we pay those weeks because of the dates. So the claim week is what really matters. It's not that we're not making the $600 payments after July 25th. It's that we can't legally attach that payment to any claim weeks after July 25th. So that's kind of how to look at it. So when the CARES Act money, it's not a matter of what's in a fund or what's not. We actually draw down money real time as we make payments today. Our comptroller goes into the federal accounts and draws the amount of money of the payments we're making tonight. So we don't have any sitting in a holding tank anywhere. It doesn't really work that way. So they'll continue for claim weeks ending July 25th, and any claim weeks after that date won't have the $600 attached to it.
So Deborah writes in, if my regular UC benefits are exhausted, must I wait for a letter from DOL to file for extended benefits?
Hi, actually, no. If your regular UC benefits exhaust and you're still within your benefit year, if you heard my opening remarks, I explained how a claim goes for 1 year. It's valid for 1 year. So if you're still within your benefit year and your year hasn't expired, we're going to automatically set up a PEUC claim for you. So that's the additional 13 weeks of benefits. The only time someone would have to apply for those to have a claim set up for PEUC for the 13 weeks is if the benefit year has ended. And there is an application online that you can fill out on our website. So if you finish your PEUC weeks, and you claim those just like regular UC, you go in every 2 weeks, you log in, you file for them, it works the same way. Once you finish your PEUC claim, then the extended benefits will also be automatically set up for you. And that one does not have an application process per se. That one's just an automatic setup. So you'll also, log in the same way. The filing is a little bit different. You can file weekly if you want, but that generally works the same way. So you don't have to wait for something in the mail. We do always send a financial determination for every program. So when you're set up on a program, you will get the financial determination in the mail. But, you don't have to wait for that in the mail. You can, your claim is already set up, so you can start filing, or I should say continue filing on your biweekly cycle as you were. There was one other point I was going to make, and it flew right out of my head. If I think of it later, I'll bring it up. But, we can move on to the next one.
All right, Susan. Next up, we've got Faith on the line. Faith, go ahead with your question, please.
Hi. I was just authorized to receive my back payments from April, but I have not received my Relia card. I did hear what you said in the opening statements. So are you saying if I don't receive it by the end of the week, then I should call Relia card?
Hi, Faith. So if I'm taking it you're a PUA claimant.
Yes, a PUA.
Okay. So the U.S. Bank should have the rest of those issued and mailed as of early this week, so you should receive it at the end of this week at the latest. If you do not have a card by the end of the week, by next week, that would be when you would want to check with Relia card, because at that point, the Department of Labor and Industry and Treasury will have already sent everybody's names to U.S. Bank to have those issued. So it's not like we're sending some but not others. Like we send everyone. We just had to do it in waves because it was so large. So all of our requests for debit cards are complete. So at that point, U.S. Bank, if they didn't, I know in the beginning of the pandemic, there were issues where they had some old addresses for people and they had old old cards on file, things like that. So you should check with them and just make sure that they did mail one and it went out to you.
Next, we're joined by Tammy. Tammy's on the line with us. Go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you. I'll try to be brief. I was originally filed under unemployment March 20th due to my business where I worked closing. March 17th was the last day, I believe. And I got an email, and then just this week got an approval on PEUC. So I'm wondering, because during my time off, I had to get a second job. I literally had no income. Both jobs were part-time. I went to do my first biweekly file today, and it's only going till it's the week ending May 2nd. But I was literally, my original work closed on, my last day there was March 16th. Will that PEUC go back that far? Because I'm just starting my filing. I didn't know I could start until I got my letter of acceptance. And I'm doing it on the PAT system due to no internet because I don't have any money.
Understood. So, Tammy, the PEUC program specifically was created by the CARES Act, so that didn't go into effect until the week ending April 4th. So those weeks, April 4th and later, could be available to you. If any of those weeks were missed, you could, request us to backdate one of those weeks, or multiple of those weeks if you miss them. Otherwise the filing system, and it can be confusing. I think it only sometimes shows one week at a time, but it will let you go through, all of the rest of the weeks until you're caught up. So if you did only get through a week, perhaps you did get through the April weeks and the May weeks, it should allow you to go beyond that. If it doesn't, it might just take the next weekend cycle. I didn't think it usually did that, but it's worth trying to see if the next weekend cycle will give you the additional weeks. But if there are any weeks after week ending April 4th, well, I should say starting with or after April 4th, we can manually pay those for you. We'll just ask you the same questions that the system asks, and then we can submit payment for them. So you would, of course, have to get a hold of us, which I know is difficult. But if, you just simply drop us an email, for example, when someone gets to that email, we will be able to contact you and then submit payments for those weeks.
So can we confirm, Susan, the email address is uchelp@pa.gov?
Correct. That is for regular UC inquiries. And I'll just mention if anyone has a PUA inquiry, it's a separate email address. It's ucpua@pa.gov.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Next up, we've got Marshall joining us on the line. Go ahead with your question, Marshall.
Good afternoon. My benefit year ended June 6th. I'm a substitute teacher, and of course I had to apply for unemployment in March. And my benefit year ended June 6th of 2020. I was sent a letter to notify me of that, and of course I reapplied on June 7th. I received a notice of financial determination telling me that my new benefit year would start June 7th, 2020. And I have been sending in my biweekly requests for benefits and have not received any. From March to June, I was receiving my benefits. But from since June, since my reapplication, I have not received any since June 10th.
Hi, Marshall. I don't know for sure without looking at the claim, but I do have a guess. Since you mentioned you're a substitute teacher, there is a question on our application that asks if you worked for a school or educational institution. I forget exactly how it's worded. So if you said yes to that, that would explain why your claim is held up. It's just waiting for someone to look at your situation and reach out to you to see if you are like a full-time teacher or if you have a reasonable expectation. We call it reasonable assurance. If you have reasonable assurance that you will be returning in the fall or after whenever the break is. And throughout the pandemic, this has actually been a big issue. Normally, reasonable assurance is an issue that we look at during school breaks. But because of the pandemic and the timing of it, there were a lot of educators who may not be salaried and may have been out of work and legitimately needed benefits, but of course they were held up because we have to examine their eligibility. So if that's my wild guess, just based on the situation you described. So if that is the case, someone should be reaching out to you soon. I know we were reprioritizing, trying to reach more of those individuals, especially because this time of year is the traditional summer break, and there will be a lot of individuals who are not eligible during this time because they otherwise would have been off from work. So that's pretty much what the examiner is going to be looking for when they contact you. So when they do contact you, just make sure you answer all the questions, and they'll make a determination of eligibility. We always try to recommend to people that you add our phone number into your phone so that when we call, it's us and it's not a spam number and you don't ignore us, because as you know, it's difficult to get a hold of us again. So it would be great if everyone answers when we call. So, our 888-313-7284 number is good to add to your phone. And again, that's 888-313-7284.
All right, moving now back to an online question. This one comes from Brianna, who asks, how can I get my PUA claim effective date changed from March 8th to March 22nd? I cannot start certifying my weekly claims until the first effective date is changed, or it will deem me ineligible.
Hi, Brianna, you are correct. That is exactly what will happen if you try to file for the earlier week. So to have that date changed, I'm not even really sure if the effective date will change. It'll just be more like declining the particular weeks. You'll have to get in touch with us. So it's either an email to ucpua@pa.gov, or you can try calling our PUA line, and I will quickly try to look up that phone number because I don't have it in front of me, but I do want to share it with everyone because right now we do not have individuals on chat who are able to answer PUA questions. So right now, the contact options are limited. We are training people. We will have more people able to answer PUA, and they will be able to do that on chat. It's just not available quite yet. So the phone line for PUA customer service, it's open from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. each day. Soon we will have more help rolling on. We've got another 200 or so people who will be helping us answer that line. So it's about to get a little easier to contact us through this line. And the phone number is 855-284-8545. And again, that's 855-284-8545. And the hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the phone line.
All right, another question from online. This one submitted by Linda. Is an employee eligible for unemployment if they're staying home because they say that they may have been around someone who may have COVID-19, or if they say that they do not feel comfortable working around other people?
That's a great question. We've actually, it's probably our most popular question these days, are all the scenarios surrounding refusal of work or turning down work. So when it comes to a determination of eligibility, it will truly be on a case-by-case basis. So, if an individual reports to us or their employer reports to us that they have turned down some sort of work, we will ask all questions about the situation. Is there a health concern of the person? Is there a health concern because they live with someone who's immunocompromised? How about the employer's side of things. Are they following all the rules they're supposed to be following, or are they not making people follow the rules? There's so many different variables that it will depend on the situation. The Federal Department of Labor has said that simple, fear of possibly catching the virus isn't good enough. There have to be additional circumstances like the ones I just mentioned. It's very case by case, and we would have to look to see, what's a reasonable person going to do in that situation. If there's a risk, a serious health risk because you have, some sort of a compromised immune system, even if things are safe in the workplace, things can still happen. So what's the situation there, and what's your employer doing about it? And that's another important point is if you do have a concern and, something, you're worried about going back to work for a particular reason, you really do need to discuss that with your employer first. You should not just outright refuse the job or refuse the hours. You should be contacting them and trying to sort out, what it is that they can do. Is there an accommodation they can make? Or, if they're not following guidelines, can they start following guidelines? You have to show that you are trying to work it out with them first as opposed to just outright refusal. But, if they're not willing to work with you or they can't make changes and, in some places it might be too small to be able to make changes. There might be some valid reasons there. But if it's going to affect you, we'll take that into consideration and make a determination from there.
All right, back to the phones we go. We've got Susan joining us now. Susan, go ahead with your question, please.
Thanks so much for taking my call. Okay, so my benefit year had ended, and I was contacted back in May by PAUC that I may be eligible for PUC. So I applied, and 2 days ago I finally got my my financial determination saying I was eligible for benefits. Now, none of my information has changed from previous. I still have my PIN, the whole thing. When I went to apply for benefits yesterday and today, I keep getting that my account is inactive. I tried doing it by phone thinking, well, maybe, I can do it by phone. That didn't work. So it's kind of a question of I've already waited so long. I need to start being able to give answers to people I owe money to. And so, yeah, just curious as to what the wait time is on this and what could possibly be wrong.
Hi, Susan. So it could be a timing issue, depending on when your claim was actually interfaced. And let's see, if you had received your financial determination Tuesday, I'm going to assume, but I don't know for sure, that it was interfaced last week, and your financial determination was probably mailed out on, I'm going to say Friday or so, in which case I would expect you to be able to file for benefits this week. Now that's, of course, a lot of assumptions on my part. So what I would advise doing, again, the weeks that are offerable to you are all based on a program that runs every Saturday. So it's possible that if it was, depending on when it was built, it's just waiting for the Saturday run to make your weeks available to you. So you can try again Sunday. In the meantime, just to make sure, and to make sure, you're not waiting any longer, you should try to chat with us and see if someone can, if you have online chat, that's the best way, see if someone can just reset those weeks for you, and, make sure that they're up and running. That's the difficult part with the PEUC program, is that there's not a lot of notice. It's not like there's an online dashboard which can say, okay, you're ready now. Like, you don't know until you receive your financial determination, and that could have been delayed in the mailroom. We don't really know when it went out. So try again Sunday, but in the meantime, do try live chat with us. That is really the best way right now to get a hold of us. If you do get a hold of us, it's definitely faster than email, and it's available from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. From our website. And that's a quick, easy fix. Once you do get a hold of a staff person, they can just make those weeks available for you. In general, right now, on regular UC and PEUC, we're still allowing online filing for 6 weeks back because we realize, a lot of applications took longer to set up, et cetera. So anytime that someone, finally gets their claim set up or active, it'll allow you to file for the last 6 weeks. Of course, for PEUC, you may need more than that if, depending on when your PEUC claim would have been or should have been active. So if your 6 weeks are not offered to you, you may have to go back a little further than that. We'll have to assist you with that. So we'll remember to try again Sunday, but you can, chat with us and see if we can get those weeks set up for you just in case.
All right, another live caller. We've got Shanta joining us now. Go ahead with your question, please. Hello, Shanta.
Yes, I'm sorry. How you doing? I actually applied for regular unemployment back in March. I started to receive benefits around the beginning of April. Towards, I can say, like the middle of June, everything was going fine. Like I was receiving the $600 over top of my regular biweekly pay. And towards the middle of June, I stopped receiving my payments. I only received the $600, and after that, that was it. I haven't received anything up until now. I reached out. I tried to call numerous times, over 50 times, on via phone and email. I reached out twice. It's been almost a month. I haven't received anything from them. I tried online, haven't received anything. It's like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, this is like my last result because I haven't gotten anyone contact me. I tried to do via email. I tried to do online. I tried to call over 100 times. They still saying my claim is active, which I still have, I view my payments, and I still have money into unemployment. They didn't say, they still let me file biweekly, so I just haven't gotten paid till now, from the middle of June to now. And I can't get in contact with anyone. So I want to know what's, like, really going on. Like, if you got, like, is they backed up, or what is going on?
Hi, Shanta. So when it comes to benefit payments, those are generally made automatically, so it's not like there would be a backup where that's waiting for a person. What your situation reminds me of, though, is the fraud situation we were just talking about a little bit ago. What you should do is go to, you said that you use our online application to kind of look and see what's going on. Look into your benefit payment inquiry and see if the payments, see which week's payments have been issued for last. If the last weeks that were issued to you via, in your payment history was like early June, that actually is good news. That means that it doesn't look like there's any type of identity theft going on. If you've been filing weeks and it's been accepting them, and your benefit payment inquiry shows that the payments have been made, that sounds like someone may have stolen your identity and hijacked your money. So what you should do in that case, there is a fraud page on our website. It's actually, every time I open our website, it's the very first one that pops up at the top of the screen. There's like a carousel which runs with different announcements. The fraud one is always the first one that pops up. And there's addresses on there for people to mail payments if they receive payments in error, but you can also contact us that way to try to, get information and see if the your direct deposit has been changed. Because that's pretty much what was happening was fraudsters were using people's Social Security numbers to file PUA claims, and those individuals already had regular UC claims. So when the direct deposit of the fraudsters was sent to Treasury to be set up, it overrode regular UC claimants' direct deposit, which was already set up. So what it results in is your regular UC payments going to the fraudsters' bank accounts. So the Pennsylvania Treasury has been working on trying to proactively identify these. I mean, we've had people, come and tell us what's happening. And, well, I mean, they don't know. They just know that their payments stopped randomly, and they don't know why. So when we look into it, we find that that's what happened. So Treasury is trying to proactively, get these individuals and narrow it down so that we can reach out and make sure that that's all stopped and everything is set back the right way. But it is good, if you're noticing that payments stop for no reason, there's nothing, you're not answering any questions differently. Your benefit year, you're on a regular benefit year, so there's no quarter change going on. So I would recommend checking your payments, and if there's something strange happening there, please contact us.
Thank you very much for that information, Susan, and all of your answers in today's call. And we are about to run out of time for this weekly call. I want to thank you for participating in today's L&I Town Hall. We appreciate the opportunity to speak directly with you and answer your question. Now I'd like to turn the call back over to Secretary Alexiak for closing thoughts.
Thank you, Dirk, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you, Susan, as always, for your knowledge and expertise. We hope you find these calls as helpful as we do. As I said at the beginning, we've distributed already, close to $25 billion in benefits. But we know for those of you that have not received those benefits, that's a little consolation. Know that we are doing all we can as quickly as we can to make sure that all of you who are entitled to your benefits get those benefits. Thank you.
So certainly for updates from Pennsylvania Labor and Industry, please visit the website www.uc.pa.gov. And once again, if we weren't able to address your question, please send an email to uchelp@pa.gov. And a heartfelt thank you to everyone for taking the time to participate in this call. We hope you stay healthy and safe and have a wonderful day.